Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Today I remembered a scene from the movie Citizen Kane. I've never really liked the movie that much, but this one scene in particular is just like very relevant. And basically Citizen Kane is the story of Charles Kane and his rise to power as an industrial magnate and then really his fall from happiness. And early on in his life, he's trying to get this newspaper company off the ground, this printing press. And he's losing about $1 million a year. And his accountant drops like the trade magazine on his desk and says, "Is this your idea of how to run a newspaper?" And so Charles Kane wistfully and like happily responds, "I don't know how to run a paper, Mr. Thatcher. I just try everything I can think of." And that like idea of just trying everything you can think of, even though you don't know how to go about doing something, was actually the story of Orson Welles' life at that time. He was just a 25-year-old guy who like wrote, co-produced, directed, and starred in this movie. That was his first feature film, so he didn't have too much directing experience prior to that. And he just would do all these crazy things because he just legitimately thought he would set out to make the coolest movie ever. So he had these insane tracking shots that would go through buildings. He used more prosthetics and makeup and wardrobe costuming than most people. He used more extras in his movie than people at that time ever would, considering like the nature of his project. He just acted with sheer bravado and just like, it's like, no, we're just gonna try it. Like, I don't know how to go about this, but yeah, we're just gonna set out to do epic camera work and make the greatest movie ever. And that's what happened with Citizen Kane. It was widely considered one of the greatest films ever. And I was just thinking about this line and what it means to me in particular. Because just around a year ago this time, I had left my job as a chemistry teacher and I wasn't getting any work as an actor. And I was pretty listless. Like I would just sit in my room and not sure what to do with myself. And the only thing that I had to do to start turning everything around was to, one, cultivate energy within me, and secondly, to try things. You know, around the time of March, I started doing pranayama every day, meditation every day, cultivating my life force energy, and then just trying things. I remember I had seen like a posting for a play, even though I was trying to get a career going as a screen actor, and still am. I had seen this play advertisement that said it would pay $200 for 2.5 months of work, long rehearsals, like 6 days a week, and like 23 performances over 4 weekends, and it would pay $200. And I just thought to myself, oh, what the hell? I'm an actor. I love acting. I'm gonna try out for this play. I did. I got the part. It was like this really bizarre role in which I played like a burn victim in a surreal apocalyptic scenario. But I made some great friends from that play. And this one guy said, "Hey, are you of Indian descent? Because this bigger theater that pays pretty well, they're looking for actors of Indian descent to fill this one role. They can't find anyone." So I said, yeah, I am, sure. I went in, got the part, and I played the role of Sandeep in this play called Ideation. I later used that scene in my demo reel, which many of you have seen and commented on. Thank you guys so much for that. It was the most artistically fulfilling role of my life. A casting director at the Guthrie Theater, once we were in performances for that show. The Guthrie Theater is like the premier, highest ranking theater in Minnesota. Maybe one of the best theaters in the Midwest. They have like a budget of like $16 million a year, and they ship in actors from LA, New York, and Chicago to play a lot of those big roles, including TV actors. So someone at the Guthrie saw me in that play and invited me to audition for 2 of their shows just a few weeks ago. In that time, I also started, like, I didn't have an income, so I just Googled one day, like, jobs that can be done remotely or jobs with flexibility. Because I had been a chemistry teacher prior, and I didn't, like, it's very hard to go to auditions but also have to, like, have an obligation to young students. Like, it wouldn't be fair to students. It just wouldn't work to be a teacher and an actor. So I just Googled like jobs that can be done remotely. And I saw a lot of postings on digital marketing and SEO. So I just took a course in digital marketing, an online course, and I didn't know if it would lead to anything or not, but I just like paid for this course, started studying, created this terrible, terrible portfolio, and got some certifications. It led me here with this somewhat of like a corporate brand name company, Thomson Reuters. This is a company that I would never have thought that I'd be like qualified to work for. So it's bizarre, just like that moment. Had I not Googled remote jobs, had I not just been like, in that moment, it felt like this probably isn't going to work, and yet it led to an income that I can use to fuel my ambitions further. Now, when I was actually inside Thomson Reuters, my first few weeks there, I met a new friend who's a writer and producer. And my connection with her led me to the Twin Cities Film Festival, being a correspondent and a brand ambassador for the festival, in which I'm starting to meet more directors and producers and writers. Not to mention that I reconnected with an old high school friend who just happens to be a music video videographer. And he helped me film one of my scenes for my demo reel. I don't mean to say any of this to brag, and if it comes across that way, I truly, truly apologize. My intention in saying all this is there is certainly magic in just cultivating energy within yourself and then just trying things, even if your plan isn't perfect. Like my plans definitely weren't. My plans up to now have definitely not had too much tact or skill or diplomacy in them. I just made the attempt, and it led me here. And I don't know how I'll get to the next, phase of my life, what I could do or what I could go about to getting to where I want to be. But I tell you what, I'm enjoying the process of just trying things. In fact, I'd say like I'm not working incredibly hard. It was more hard work for me to sit at home and be listless, not know what to do with myself, than it is for me to live out these experiences now, where I'm going to a corporate job and sort of like moonlighting as an actor, connecting with people and trying to do these mini projects with them, emailing agents, like sniping their emails and reaching out to them and trying to connect with them. This process that I don't know if it will work or not, I'm still enjoying the chase of it. And I do feel that the more energy you cultivate within yourself, and if you do what Napoleon Hill said, which is raising up the rays of your mind to a high vibration of thought. Same things that Napoleon Hill said, but also Swami Vivekananda and the great saints from India. It's like the things you try end up being more lucky as well. Like you get more good fortune from your efforts. But the cultivation of energy and the attempt, they're both equally important components. Cultivating energy within yourself, cultivating life force energy or meditative practices, those are multipliers. They will sharpen your efforts and give you vigor so that you can take on those activities. But as for the activities themselves, you don't have to be perfect. Violently execute a plan which is imperfect. It's totally okay. Maybe you'll fail on certain efforts, but it might lead you to progress. It certainly has for me. I want to close by talking about The Magic of Thinking Big, this book by David Schwartz, which I've mentioned before. But in this one chapter called Think and Dream Creatively, David Schwartz talks about this young woman who wanted to start a hardware store. And everyone told her not to do it. They said this industry is way too crowded, like there's no way you'll be able to break through. And within 3 years, she had the #1 hardware store, like with the most profits, and she was expanding to 3 locations. And Schwartz says that she only had one strategy for getting there. Every Sunday, she would just make a list. How can I improve my business? And she would make a list. She would write things down. And every week, she would try out a few new things. That's it. Try things. And most certainly will lead you somewhere, even if there's failure in the midst of it. It's almost a guarantee that there will be failure in the midst of it. But Just because you don't know how to run a newspaper doesn't mean that you shouldn't run a newspaper. Like Charles Kane himself, let's get out there and just try everything that we can think of. And if you do, I promise greatness will be coming. Cheers, guys. I'll see you in the next one.